Jeffrey Morgan. He is a global leadership strategist and entrepreneur. Good morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning, or is good afternoon your side?
Wait,
I believe.
yeah, it's afternoon, yeah.
Morning in Australia, Sydney, Australia.
Yeah. What's the weather like there?
It is. We're just coming out of summer, so it's still warm. Yesterday was like, yeah, you could get down the beach and get the top off, so can't complain. Autumn here ain't too bad.
Sounds like a good time to me.
Beach, sun, fun, happy days.
Yes, a little relaxation.
Bondi Beach, which is world famous, is just down the road. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, happy days. I'm close and happy to get the shirt off and get some sun on.
Oh, you don't post a lot of you on the beach, though.
Oh, no, I need to. A lot of people say that. Morgs, you got to post more with your shirt off, and it's more. I think it's one of those things in society, and especially with what we do and everything around leadership. You want to show. I think your body speaks volumes around discipline and leadership in itself. Choices that you make. So it's definitely something I've got to post a bit more of in 2025. A little bit, just enough, to just giving up people just enough to say, hey, this bloke's disciplined. His body speaks volumes. He doesn't have to say anything.
That is so true, because for me personally, what I admire about like the bodybuilders, that reflects their mental discipline. Absolutely. And it also makes you, like, when we get to see that kind of stuff, it makes us feel like, makes you more relatable. And
absolutely, I think it's very important.
We need to see that.
Your body is a reflection of the habits that you keep within your life, and it shows you if you can do one thing, you can do everything. Sometimes it's what we do, though, like with leadership in general. A lot of people don't understand leadership on a level of, there's so many different pillars, relationships. I know a lot of what you talk about, even how you treat your partner or intimacy wise. These elements, you could have a great body, but not know how to be intimate with your partner or those that are before yourself. And I think that's an important, definitely from someone like yourself, you could learn things that would earn, something that was special in the bedroom or something that was special in your life. And a lot of people don't realize that. They'll just build their body and they won't manage their finances well, relationships, intimacy, or whatever it is. So for me, I really had this really holistic approach to leadership and building yourself well, because it's like a car. You can build, the body of the car and it looks beautiful, but if I take the steering wheel off the car, it goes nowhere. So I realized that there were so many elements, and even all the nuts and bolts of a car, they're not we're not looking at nuts and bolts and going, how beautiful are they? But they hold everything together. And when we understand that, that's what leadership looks like. And as you know, even if we get to the bedroom in that sense, these elements, they make for a great experience versus, some people just get in there and it's a total different experience. And it breaks up marriages, it breaks up relationships, people seek solace elsewhere because they're not just being loved the way they want to, or something happens in that. I'm not saying that it's right, but I'm just saying it contributes to. So go out and learn these things so that you build yourself really strong and people want to be in that space with yourself, and, they enjoy that moment.
Right. I mean, sex bleeds into every aspect of people's lives. I don't think they realize that. And if there's one thing I consistently hear from people, is that they would really like to feel confident naked. And that has everything to do. Now, you're going to get a better lover. I mean, you're just going to be a better person. You feel more confident, but that has to do with accountability and discipline and taking the steps. That mindset that I'm going to do whatever it takes in order to feel a certain way and to activate that in my life. And they understand, instead of hiding behind clothes or hiding behind the lights and hiding behind, all of that. And like you say, going to the beach, taking off your shirt, soaking in the sun, relaxing, and the confidence that comes with that. And Absolutely. All of your hard work, because it's a lot of hard work to be physically fit, or the way to reach your goals. You know what I mean? Whatever they are for anybody.
Do what is hard and life will be easy. Do what is easy and life will be hard. And if you choose the food to try and improve your mood, I suppose, when you're going through
Mm-hmm.
times because you haven't built yourself well around what we call emotional intelligence, how to react to situations. Now, food's going to, you think it's going to fix it and make you feel good. You're watching Netflix or whatever it is that you're watching,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're isolating in the bedroom and someone says to you, come to the beach, and you're like, oh no, I've got something on, when you really don't, because it's just, comes back to a lack of confidence. And then if you have to go to a wedding, jump in the photo and you see the person, they're right up the back and their head sticking out the side. And that's
Mm-hmm.
just that lack of confidence. You don't want to be that person for yourself. And that means
No.
take these steps now so that when you end up in the bedroom, that's the, probably the pinnacle of when you understand where you feel, what you feel about yourself. Or, and when I say bedroom, maybe it's by yourself after a shower, you're looking in the mirror and you're like, I'm not happy. I don't feel good about
Mm-hmm.
myself. And, I come into your space and say, hey, MJ, I'm into you. And you're like, I've got something on. You're running for the hills because you just don't
Right.
feel great about your body. You want to, I'm at an age where a lot of people have let themselves go and
Mm-hmm.
they're starting to go into retirement. And I'm thinking, well, I'm just stepping up my game and I want to make sure that I've got the energy, the sustenance, not only for the bedroom, but my life.
Right.
I don't want to walk around with a walking stick in Mykonos. I want to
Right.
be jumping off the side of a cliff into the water and loving life and swimming back in the shore because I've got the energy and zest to do that. And imagine that transfers from there to the bedroom, to your business, to your life, to your relationships. It's going to be a happy day, and happy days for yourself.
You know what? I think confidence gives you freedom. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
I
You
think that's what
just
people really seek is the freedom, but they don't. You have to earn that. Freedom isn't free. You have to work for that.
you can look at someone's feed. I look at yours and it's packed full of confidence. And photos that you're taking and stuff of that nature. You want to feel good. And you just want to be able to post something where people say to me, do you want me to take a different angle? I'm like, I don't care. And that's me. They either like me or they don't, and that's it. And that's just me being confident around how I look after myself. I think if you can get to that level, as you said, that's freedom right here. And a lot of people are prisoners of their own mindsets. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I was a prisoner for 20 years. But
Mm.
people go, oh, that's crazy. You were locked up for 20 years. And I'm like, yeah, I was locked up for 20 years. I asked them the question, do you think that's crazy? And they go, yeah. I said, you know what's crazier? People are free and they're prisoners in
Mm.
life for their whole life behind their
That.
mindset, right? So once you understand that little conversation for yourself, what is it that you could do that gets past those? I had a client say something very powerful. I feel like I've been a prisoner behind my own eyes for my whole life. And I was like, whoa, mind blown, because inside what they were thinking was they weren't good enough, they didn't have the
Mm.
confidence, they didn't weren't smart enough. These things, what are these elements, and this is leadership that you can build into yourself. You don't have to be smart in rocket science. I don't want to do rocket science, so what I need to be smart in is what I want to do for my life. And the same principle for everybody out there that listens to this: be smart around what you do. And I mean this nicely. I'm not even like, if someone chooses to be, let's say, a stripper, a pizza boy, whatever, just be great at it. And whatever it is that you choose, everyone's going to judge you, whether you're Elon Musk, Donald Trump, everyone's got an opinion.
Mm.
Why try and please everybody? You're not going to do it. So just be confident in who you are. And if I'm that pizza boy, hey, here's your pizza. Have a great night and be the best version of that. And rock out to the world and be proud of who you are, man. Like, you're very unique. We all had a very unique opportunity to make it on this planet. Some people didn't, unfortunately, and we sit here and go, oh, MJ's looking better than me, and Joe Bloggs has got that car, and oh, Mary Poppins got that house, and I wish I had. If you want to wish for anything, wish for the
Mm-hmm.
greatest life that you could ever wish for, and that means the one that you design, not accept. Oh, I need to get a
Mm.
job, and I'll get a job around something I hate doing. It just crazy. No, it's a crazy. You would. It's like saying, you, MJ, I think you should get a guy that has black hair. And you're like, I'm not into guys with black hair. I'm into guys
Right.
with baldy head or whatever, right?
Right.
So once you understand this conversation, why are we listening to everybody else? I said something the other day that was very important. You wouldn't give half your pay packet to somebody else, would you, every week? And people are, no way. I said, so why do you give your life or half of your life to somebody's opinion every week? And then, people are like, at this conference, say, like, you blew my mind with that statement, because MJ like me. You don't like the black top, 1 sec. I'll just go and get changed. And what colour do you like? Blue. And now I walk out, and Sarah says, I don't like blue. I like black. All right, I'll get in my black. Crazy. Just enjoy you and be you. Greatest version of you.
You just blew my mind when you said that people that are in the comfort of their home right now, there are listeners driving, listening to this podcast.
Correct.
And they are prisoners of their own mind. They
Crazy.
are free as can be, but yet they are still a prisoner of their own mind.
Absolutely. Imagine it's like a bird flying around with a chain on it and a ball hanging off its leg, literally. That's what most humans are. Because they're constantly in comparison. They're constantly wanting more. And when I say wanting more but not doing nothing about more. Does that make sense? So you just got to... We discount the residual efforts that people put in. So these little micro efforts, slowly but surely, and we always heard that the tortoise, the tortoise and the hare story. Let me tell you, the tortoise always wins. And what that means is those little efforts, I just do not stop. And over, 10 years, 365, one a day, 10 years, 3,650 efforts to improve self or improve business or improve relationships or improve your bedroom antics or intimacy. I guarantee you 3,650 steps in a bedroom, you'll know everything, right? Pretty much. And how to please a male or female. And I guarantee that the person on the other side of your knowledge in that space is going to be like, what? That was mind-blowing. And then in business, the same principle, 3,650 steps in your business. That's just, I guarantee you'll be successful. And even if you technically in your head fail at this experience this time, you still got 3,650 steps that you can build into the next business, an opportunity that will grow and explode. So, priceless. People just get caught up and as I said, they walk through life and they're dead at 25 and buried at 75. So do yourselves a favor, get out there and make sure that you live life and don't be a prisoner of life. You're worth more.
Yeah, and we need to tell the listeners, they're like, what, this guy 20 years in prison, what are you talking about? Okay, so Jeffrey's story. Whoa. At 12 years old, he jumps out of his bedroom window because he is convinced that life on the street has to be better than what he was enduring at home. He turns to a life of crime. Bank robbery, grand theft auto, a series of other serious crimes, which then lands him in jail for almost 20 years. And you guys already got a taste of him. He now inspires men all across the globe, men and women, but specializes in men, right?
We do
men and women,
we do have a men's group, but I started out as just men and women, and our business is built on that as a global business.
Well, he's inspiring people all over the globe to change their mindset and to step into leadership to live their best life. How long ago was your last day in prison?
2010, I walked out of prison and never went back. So I've been home. It's going, my head, I'm thinking it's 2025. We're going on 15 years I've been home. But I spent 20 years in and out of custody from, I think they call it juvie hall in America, but juvie hall into prison. And it was just a normal way of life. We grew up in Redfern, which was one of Australia's most notorious streets. If you try and get a taxi there, they'd say, get out from the city. It was just outside the city, and you basically say, Redfern, they go, get out of the taxi, police, running riots with police. I'll send you some of that footage. They've actually
Please.
got footage of Molotov cocktails, running riots, full police barriers with their big shields, and people throwing bricks at them, the whole lot. And that was just normal how we grew up. It's like the Bronx over there, or Crenshaw or something like that. I'm just going off the top of my head. These areas, and you'd have no doubt have one in Phoenix where it's just notorious for people growing up and coming from a different socio-economic background, and that was just normal. So we grew up that way. Hustle was the normal way of life, and it was a badge of honour to go to jail. So my brothers all went. I had
Was
7 brothers.
it? It was? It was?
Yeah, literally, I got the jail,
Wow.
and you think it's a big flex, and that's the truth and reality of how we grew up. But I started like 16. When I was 16, I was starting to sit there and go, "This can't be normal." Like I walked up the street and someone's injecting themselves next to their kids out the back lane where we grew up. It was called the Block. It was a 4-street thing. Up the middle was a laneway. So I walk up this laneway, people injecting themselves, their kids in the right next to them. Over here, people smoking pot, their kids are next to them. Middle of that, there's this big Coliseum type thing. There's 2 people punching on, blood's going over. Yeah, everyone's screaming for them. And then, people over the back here drinking, music's blaring, and I'm just thinking, is this normal? And then, domestic violence incident with a bloke dragging a female, and I mean this nicely to those females on here. If you're triggered by any of this, by all means, reach out to me. I'll have a conversation with you. But to see that at 16 and think, I started this. By the time I got to the top of the lane, I was like, this can't be normal. Like, is this? Surely people live a different way of life, and I started to pursue the answers to that. And I just went, enough's enough. And if I can, let me tell you, if I can, you can. And it's a little series I started to do and show people where it started, but what I learned, from that experience. It didn't happen to me; it happened for me, and that lesson became a blessing in my life. So that pain turned to power, and ultimately turned it to who I am today as a global leadership strategist.
Okay, so you left because you were sure that life in the streets was better than life at home. So what was life at home like? Because you just gave us a pretty clear picture of what it was like in the streets. What was life like at home?
Well, father's side, it was very physical, physically abusive every single day. And then I found out as I got older, it was just recently, last year, crazy. We're looking through this email, and someone says to me, "What's this email about your father?" And I'm like, "What about my father?" So we start reading it. It was a court report for my last sentencing thing, and
Oh, wow.
it was his sister, and she spoke about him being physically abused 3 times. I don't know if she said abused by 3 different men. The father, the priest, the school teacher. So I was like,
That you or your father?
my father had been. So I was like, this makes sense why he was just.
Oh, yeah,
And they
yeah.
came through the war period. He moved from Austria to Australia to have a go. He spoke no English at the time, so he carried whatever happened there onto me, and whether it was some anger, whether it was his way of discipline. And I went, I don't want to be in this house. I went to my mother's house. I was bouncing between them 2 because they're dysfunctional. There was drinking in the mum's house, drugs, alcohol, music blaring to like all hours of the morning, and then trying to go to school the next morning, lack of sleep, 13 kids on one foam mattress, which had bed bugs, and my groin area, was more like a cheese factory because of the lack of hygiene. And that, like, you look at that and you think to yourself, well, even as a young kid, mum's not really safe there. I was getting kicked, I was getting slapped by unknown people because, well, I turned the music down, shut up. And then in my father's side, it was, as much as it was a cleaner, he was very disciplined, structured. It was just very physical. So I just went, you know what, it's better out on the streets. Let's see where it takes us. And hit the streets of Sydney, and as a 12-year-old kid, so I want people to think about their own kids at 12, or have a look at their nieces, nephews, maybe a soccer kid, or something that you go to with your girlfriend or something, or boyfriend, and watch their kid, and just think about a 12-year-old kid on the streets. That's where the entrepreneurship started, and off we went.
I have a question I'm going to ask you in the middle of this interview.
Go
I'm going
ahead.
to lead up to it. Okay, so you talk about, I was listening to all the other episodes that you've been on podcast about your life, and you were talking about you and your brother stealing chips. This just broke my heart because you were hungry. You didn't think that you were doing anything wrong. You were just a 12-year-old boy that was hungry.
Literally, like, I never went, oh, we're stealing something. I was like, oh, chips. Friday afternoon, payday, whether it was my dad's was better, but, actually, I lied. So Friday, I opened the fridge at my dad's, and there's nothing in there. We had lots of bread because Dad was a baker, and he'd get Danishes, so he'd be like, oh, here's some Danishes. And I used to think he was the best dad because he was bringing that. But when I got older, my uncle told me he'd get there on a Friday, and he'd open the fridge and he'd say, where's all the food? To my father, and he'd go, oh, I gambled. I've got no money. And he goes, what are you going to feed him? Until he goes, oh, Danishes and bread. So we always had butter, bread, and I'd just eat a loaf of bread literally every day and put butter on it. I think, to have a kid at that age not have proper food in the fridge, you go there, and we got good at resourcing ourselves out. So I'd go to your house, and with your parents or your guardians or whoever it was, and I'd just say, hey MJ, how are you? And they'd be like, I'd hope they'd be cooking, and then I'd try and hang around, and sometimes it would work, and sometimes I'd say, hey, sorry Jeff, we're about to have dinner, it's time to go now. And I'm like,
oh my God,
I didn't get a feed, and then you get to this point where you just go, I need to be independent. How can I get some food? So that was my way of trying to get food. And once we hit the streets, crazy story, we actually filmed the next part of the If I Can, You Can series on YouTube. And we went back to the shop where we used to sneak under and get these chips. It's probably changed ownership now. It's been done up and all of the above. But it was just, I feel, that kid, I'm proud of that kid. Because some people say little rat bag or scumbag or whatever they, think of it. Well, let me ask you, if your kid was 12 and on the streets, what would you expect that kid to do? And if people want to call me scumbag or rat bag or whatever, what about the society that doesn't look after a kid that's been abused? I'm not there. It's people just, and I'm not, it's not about tit for tat. It's more like we've got this warped mentality around these kids stealing cars, this, that, rather than why did that kid get to that point? What is the root cause of the problem? So when you got a root that goes into the ground and holds this tree strong, I didn't have that. And if you were a horticulturist or gardener, you don't water the branches of the plant. You got to water the roots of the plant so it actually stays strong. And I didn't have that. I didn't have someone watering my roots to give me the right role modeling to make the right choices. And people just, it's a weird mentality.
Well, your whole you focus a lot on reformation. You want community to look deeper. You actually suggest go visit the homes. You suggest people from the government to walk in and sit in the environment that you were raised in for them to get a clear understanding of what a child goes through and what's the result of something like that, and how can we reach the child. We need to understand. I'm one of those people that I understand the hurt people. The bully is bullied. The narcissist
Absolutely.
has to break off from themselves because of survival. I think that way too. And I think what I've heard consistently in listening to the interviews, you say that a lot, and I love that because we can't forget it. And it does make people think, if they see a child, that something unfortunate is happening. Even if they've heard you say it once, maybe people listening to the episode, maybe they'll look at the kid across the street, or a kid that's going to school with their child. You know, I
It's
don't know how else we can help, but we're looking in the right direction when we're thinking like that.
love that. You had like as part of schooling, I'd love for them to go into these areas and maybe even, obviously, even with the parents, stay the night or something of that, or stay the whole
Hmm.
day and get an
They wouldn't,
understanding that
Jeffrey.
no
They
way
wouldn't
they
be
do
able
it.
to handle that.
There's no way, and they wouldn't handle one day of
No,
it, but will
no.
sit in judgment of it. And
Hmm.
here's the biggest thing, so everyone understands this: when you judge somebody, it means that you have the solution to the problem.
Ooh,
And here's the biggest
wow.
thing: the states be even worse than us because you got guns there, right? We got guns here, but not like the states. The states has got, yeah, and the violence is a lot. I feel a lot different over in the states, and you see the police brutality and the police responding the way they do because of how it's set, right?
Hmm.
Now, if people were to do that for one moment, you get an understanding and say, we need to sit down together as a whole. Here's why it's important for everybody to sit down as a whole. They won't do it, but in general, people that don't do it, what's going to happen is this. Someone from one of those areas needs to make money, needs to find food, maybe gets on drugs, and comes across your daughter or son or yourself late at night in a shopping centre, in a car park, in a shop, and unfortunately, their lives end.
Hmm.
And this is the power of us coming together as a whole for the best interest. So this is a circle, best interest and best outcome of the environment. So if that was America, Australia, the person, your family, whatever it is, the environment, until you all or we all come in and understand one another, guess what's going to happen? The potential for somebody's life to be taken will be there, and I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee it's happening all the time,
Mm.
right? And it's because they're not bad people; they're
They're
just
afraid at
built
that
bad.
moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and at that moment, they're probably more afraid than anything, and
Hmm.
something unfortunate
Hmm.
happens that costs not only their life in jail, but all for the rest of their life in America, but also obviously your family's life. And I think that's, if you understand it from that level, you say,
Hmm.
do we really want that? Like, who wants that? No one wants that. So let's get involved in the conversation. And how do we do that? And maybe it's just we started a program over here where kids box with the whole community box. Let's
Oh.
say it was the Bronx or Crenshaw or wherever it is in a bad area of America. We get together, we box, but then we had people external from the area, so richer suburbs come in, police officers, and all box together. And it's a very, you can
Mm.
understand people
Whoa,
from the
wow.
Bronx saying, go and box with the police from New York, and they'll be
Hmm.
like, stuff them, they're X, Y, and Z, every name
Hmm.
under the sun. But what we had to do is
Hmm.
get past that because we were getting slammed against the wall, thrown down, and what ended up happening, they end up actually having respect for the people that they're like, wow, you're actually normal people. And I said, we're all good people. We just built wrong. And when we understand that, what we end up having is less crime in the area, better unity in the community, which meant that we could walk around and not get slung down by the police. They'd walk past and they'd drive past and wave at us rather than
Hmm.
pull over, get up against the wall, what do you got on you? And for us, that was, imagine your nervous system as a young 12-year-old kid, 14-year-old kid,
Hmm.
16-year-old kid, slammed against the wall. What do you got a problem? You want to continue? And this is a grown man trying to go at a young kid, and like, who wants that, right? And if what do you reckon that angry kid does when I get, in a bank or in a stolen car? I go straight through a red light, and I don't care, and I slam into somebody and take other
Hmm.
people's lives. And I had a family member who actually done that. Went through, drove a car drunk and stoned, and slammed into another person, killed two other people. Now, including himself. Now, to me, this is the depth of that conversation. How do we build
Hmm.
us as better humans? Give us the role modeling that we didn't have, and you'll see a better outcome for the community. And it might just save your family member's life. Get involved and have that conversation.
Man, it's understanding. I mean, it's like that's what Love and Lies does is we sit down with taboo topics and things and people's lifestyles, events that have happened, and people judge it in the beginning, what it sounds like. And then by the end of the episode, they're like, wow, I could totally see how that happened or how they got there. But you're suggesting we have to understand each other. And when the kids are playing boxing with the police officers and they get to understand and see that we're all human, there's a human connection. We'll
Absolutely.
always find something in common with each
Absolutely.
other.
Yeah, and like especially around obviously what you speak about quite a lot. Intimacy is about understanding the other person and listening to their tones, moans, interests, these little things that come up for themselves during that moment. That person's like this, they're not liking that. There's not that's an understanding in the bedroom, right? And I use that analogy because if you can get it there, you can get it everywhere. Which means now I'm seeking to understand. So if I'm
Yeah.
having a conversation with you, and the greatest way to do this is think about whatever you're into, but the person that you're attracted to on the other side, what are you saying to them? How are you looking at them? What are you expressing to them? How are you touching them? How are you making them feel? Maybe you sort of, and if you can understand this on a community level, of what are you instilling in these kids? How are you making them feel? And when I say that, I don't mean physically
I
touching,
know what you're saying.
metaphorically touching the kids with the role modeling that they didn't have and making them feel loved, cared for, valued, mattered. You do that in a relationship too. We're in a relationship and I give you that. You're going to go, I'm into this guy. And now you're sort of maybe wearing something. I'm like, oh, you're looking great today. And your confidence is, you're walking strong. And now once you hit the bedroom, fireworks, right? And that's because, and this is, what if we could get that fireworks in the community, into your business, into your life, because of how you're acting and how you're touching yourself. And that means that these touch points, education, inspiration, lived experience, you going out and communicating effectively, these setting boundaries in a space, then you operate from a whole new level and then pass that on to the next person. Give that value to somebody. We have a thing in Australia. My family's Aboriginal, and for us, we used to pass on a message stick. It was a wooden stick, and on that would be inscribed, we've got fish here, you've got kangaroos there, and what we'd do, we'd exchange that value and then allow us to become stronger because of it. And I'd pass that on to you, you'd pass that back to your tribe, and they'd say, let's exchange fish for kangaroo as an example. And that allows people, just like now, to exchange knowledge and take that away and be stronger for it. So get involved and start to seek to understand rather than judge somebody. And if you're of judgment, means you've got the solution to the problem. Why not give the solution rather than be the problem?
You have mentioned that when you were a little boy, or maybe just the environment, the children, the community, I guess, were dumbed down.
Absolutely.
Do you want to share with us?
It's like you're operating at basic level. Imagine this: you're getting chased by a lion, and I'm saying, "Tell me your goals, MJ," and you're like, "Well, run for your life," and I'm like, "Oh,
Right.
what are you stressing about?" Or now I'm physically abusive to a female, and I'm saying, "Oh, now tell me your goals." Well, like it's just we were so our nervous system. My nervous system was like this: whether the police were coming for me, whether I was going to get through the night, whether I was going to get food tomorrow, whether I was going to get physically abused, maybe something more than physically abused. Yeah, and like I'm being passed between babysitters. Like you've got to understand, the only thing you're thinking is survival. That's it. So let's learn maths. I just need. I'm thinking you're teaching me maths, and I'm thinking about the food that comes in. You're teaching me geography, and I'm thinking about whether I can get some sleep tonight. Like the whole thing is just it dumbs you down. And we see the study in neuroscience that's come out, a lot of data, and it's around by the time you're 22, most people will shut down because it's like don't do that, whether it's your parents, your school teachers, and even you get a partner during that time, and I don't know, that'd be pretty hard, and they've got great intentions for you, but in the end, if you don't know how to do something, it's like going into the bedroom. You obviously got great skill around what you've done, you've learned a lot, you could help somebody transition that really quickly and make it a great experience versus someone that gets in there and is awkward. Oh, should I take this off or not? And you're like, why don't you
Mm,
just kiss me first or touch you or whatever it is? It is a different beast, right? When you understand that. But if I'm in survival mode and someone's, coming in through the window at that moment, and so someone saying, be intimate and get into it with me in the moment, like there's someone coming through the window, what should we do? They've got a balaclava on. I'm not thinking about the moment that I should be in over here. And if people understand that, young kid, you get out of judgment thinking, well, this kid's in survival mode, and all I'm thinking about when I get in to the bank or get into one of those luxury cars back in the day is how we can get money to make sure we had food, a roof over our head, and some money. The more money I had, the longer I didn't have to do crime.
oh,
And
so that's why
and
you went into bank robbery? More
yeah, I
money?
think by then, it was like it was such a lifestyle, and I was very well known in Sydney and the jails throughout New South Wales. Um, and for me, I just it didn't worry me, and I suppose it just escalated, and you didn't even realise it was escalating. Like to do a bank robbery to us in an area, there was a movie called The Town, and it was from over in the States, and they said the most bank robbers ever came from that town, in the
Mm.
world. I'd have to challenge that and say, we'd meet at the top of Redfern, and like everyone meets for coffee or a morning walk, we'd meet and say, what are you doing today? Do you want to go and do something? And we had every intent to rob a bank. And you could go with like the whole area, anyone. You want to go out? Yeah, sweet. We'll go and get a car and we'll go straight out and pump a bank. And that was, you want to pump a bank. And that was it. That was how you literally, it was nothing crazy, but other people saw it as crazy, and it would be part of the news. And for us, we would be like, wow, whatever, wouldn't even watch the news, wouldn't even care.
Didn't have a TV to.
Yeah,
So, wait, I'm
that's a true
curious.
story.
So after you rob the bank, if there's five of you, do you split it up five different ways, or is
Yeah,
this
it
like what it is
depends.
on TV? Like, what? Paint that picture for
Absolutely.
us.
I think it's like, look, let's be real about it, right? We're going to talk about back then. If you get away and you've got a bag or bags full of money, and you sort of know after a while how much you've got, to the point where the driver's actually saying in your ear because you've got an earpiece, how much, and
Mm.
like this is how crazy it is. I'm like, you're having a go at each other you're bantering on the actual thing while you're doing it. How much? Oh, probably $100. And they're like, no, how much? Seriously, shut up. And we're just like, that's how crazy this world was at that time. And then we'd come out, and once you've got away and you've got that money and you're sitting in, you've parked the other car, you've got into your normal car, and you're now back at the place counting the money. You feel great, to be honest with yourself, because you've got all this money, and you split, if it's two people, four people, you'd split that between yourself. And four people, you definitely want to do something that you knew you were going to get a lot of money from. But in general, mate, it was just crazy. Like you'd be, just to be real, every banker of I know that got away with it and had a lot of money at that point in time, and you're splitting that money up. Sometimes it comes in plastic satchels, which meant they'd package it, and on the package it would say $1,000,000 or 500,000 or whatever it is, and you take that whole thing, plug it into a bag. How are you going to feel? Everyone's going to feel great.
Jeffrey, did you bury money so when you got out, you go get it? I just that's in the
it,
movies too.
I think a lot of people, it just depends on the person and the
I know
individual.
you can't
People put
tell.
it away, people do great things with it. Depends who like I think where we grew up, we weren't, well, I wouldn't say we weren't lucky, but a lot of us, we didn't have the right people in our spaces to use the money to springboard ourselves into something different.
Right.
What I know now, if I had that person around me, more so, well, I was very lucky. But I mean, if we had those people around us, I
Mm-hmm.
was very lucky to meet somebody who was well connected and went down a pathway. But other people didn't have that, and I think that's important. Well, I wouldn't say important. Back then, it was important for that person to use that money to springboard themselves into a better life, whereas a lot of people didn't do that. And Sometimes it was for drugs, cocaine fueled penthouse parties with women, and partying and so
Okay,
forth. And
so it starts getting a little glamorous.
yeah, and that's what it was like. A
We're
lot
not
of
in the
people.
streets anymore. We're in the penthouse.
Yeah, well, and that's for us coming from
Strippers,
the streets.
drugs.
Absolutely, and you go to strip clubs and you got money, you got drugs, and things would happen, and love. People. It was a lifestyle. Sometimes it's pretty crazy. A lot of people are talking about it now. Where do you ever look back and think to yourself, "Shit, we were robbing banks, or we were making money selling drugs, drug dealers, as an example, just to be able to go to strip clubs and service, do like one another realistically in a hotel room, and then go to a nightclub and drive these luxury
Man,
cars that get taken from us because they've got these laws over here now, proceeds of crime, so they come and just take all your, if you got the Lamborghini, you got the Ferrari, whatever luxury car, some form of car or money or unaccounted for money, they'll just come and take it all. So you do all these things just
and
to
they
have
come
it
and take
taken
it.
from you. And then you're in
You,
jail fantasizing about those things again. Remember that time with those 8 girls and 4 girls and
oh gosh,
crazy, and that drives you back
that'll
to,
get you through.
yeah, oh, man. When you do
Uh,
7 years, like the last one was 7 years for the last bank robbery, and man, after a while it fades. Let me tell you, you got to dig deep in the memory.
right, so you can't smell the leather in your imagination when you're sitting there in prison. You got your hand around the wheel, trying to picture what it feels like again. Because
it's
you guys stealing potato chips to Porsches and
and that was us. We
Ferraris
won.
and
Yeah, absolutely. Everything. Our area was notorious. I was very notorious. I was an innovator. So back then, in the Porsches, um, and for us, it was just anything, any luxury car, AMG, Mercedes.
your getaway car was a BMW, right? On
Mm,
your last one.
yeah, correct. That was we got an M5, and there was 4 of us at that robbery. But like so, it was always luxury cars. The reason why, obviously, we wanted power to get away and make sure that but we did everything at its highest level. Even the
Mm.
police respected us in a sense. So they usually get other robbers, and they beat the living shit out of them when they got them. For us, it was just like come to the police station, like you're under arrest. Get on the ground, get on the ground, and then handcuff you, take you to the cop shop, and they'd never ever do anything. And it was more because of how we operated. We went in, took the money, tried to
So
de-escalate the stress in the bank. It sounds pretty crazy because obviously people are going to be traumatized by it, but we weren't hurting anybody. We in our minds we weren't physically hurting somebody, but obviously psychologically we were. But we were trying to say, everyone stay calm, we'll be out of your face in 2 minutes. Take it easy, just relax and take a moment. Just look down, nothing's going to happen. We'll be gone before you know it, sort of mentality. And that was our way of trying to be as nice, I suppose, during that whole journey. But jump into a luxury car at the front, and you feel safe. You know that you've got some power. We got chased by a bloke who was a surveillance officer, police officer on a motorbike who could really ride, and at that point in
mm,
time, we were able to get away because of the car that we had. And I think once, we're always conscious of that, make sure that, and it made us feel we were stealing from the rich, giving to the poor.
right,
A lot of people
right.
called me Robin Hood as a kid. And it was because of our mentality, steal from the rich, give to the poor. Uh, and we just, we had this, I suppose we grew up where it was more envious rather than hate for rich people. How come they got it and we don't? And it would be more a reflection on our parents than it was them. And I was just like, why can't we have what they have? This is bullshit. So when we got the drive Porsches, it was almost like a bit of fun, as much as it was survival, crossing over. And it did drive me to be who I am today and drive all the cars that we do today, and be blessed by that. And who knows, someone might borrow mine one day, one of mine one day.
Ah!
And even then,
Wouldn't that be something?
I'd actually, and if they
I
got
know you like
arrested,
exotic cars. You're buying them now, actually. But
if we had, if I had someone take one, And the police came to me. I say, mate, can we not charge them on the condition
Mm,
that they do come and sit with me? And I just say, hey, man,
yeah.
where does it come from? Because I don't understand it, like, I know, and more than likely to say my parents aren't here. The other day, I'll give you an example. We work with kids through to communities, through to organisations, corporates, sporting clubs, defence force. So all these different levels. I'm talking to this young kid who's just got out of jail at 18, and the family's asked me to come and have a yak to him as part of this program. And I'm talking to him, and I'm like, where's mum and dad? And they go, oh, both locked up. And I said, mate, if you
Mm,
want, I'll leave my number and you can call me and I'll help you with anything. And he sat and he started to cry. And I was like, it's okay, just let it go. It's good to let it go. And he goes, oh, I'm not crying. I just heaps of dust in here. And, the kids, it just doesn't know how to. It's like an awkward person in the bedroom, right? They get in there and that's what I do now. Same principle. This kid just doesn't know what to do in that situation because he's never been role modelled. And what if we all just stepped in and did that? Here's my phone number. Call me, or you just call them and say, hey, how you travelling? Oh, you ever thought about life like that? Oh, what about this? And then they start to ask you questions. I've got this girl I'm interested in. What would your advice be? That kid doesn't have his mother and father to do that with. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I'd love to be able to talk to that kid at that moment, and say, what made you want to take my car? Oh, we don't have that in the area, and I like Porsches. Well, why don't you just call me and we'll go for a drive together? How's
mm.
that sound? And I'm going to teach you some things while we're driving. We'll go for a feed. Yeah, and that would make the world a better place. The kid's not going to change straight away, um, but eventually that kid will say, you know what, this person actually makes me feel loved, valued, mattered, and cared for, and has given me the education and pushed me to be accountable, responsible, and take ownership to the words that come out of my mouth. So integrity becomes a part of my DNA, and the more I stick with that kid, his knowledge becomes wisdom now, and he's built that bridge of confidence, and off he goes into the wheels of life, his way, rather than the way that he accepted as a normal way. So I know we've all got that potential, but it's what we choose to give our time to. And most people won't give that time to those kids, or maybe to a female that's been through domestic violence, or a male that's been the perpetrator in that space. And I mean it nicely, and we should protect women and children at all costs. But if I don't step in and talk to that male that's made that choice, and I know how to make a better choice, guess what he's going to do at the next opportunity? He goes from Phoenix to New York. No one knows him, and he says, hey, MJ, you're beautiful, and now we're in a relationship, and it happens again, and this time it doesn't work out as good, and someone loses a family member. So let's step in and start to make a world a better place. There's a word called Mellorism, and it's making the world a better place through human effort, and it doesn't take much. I'll put it that way. It just doesn't take much.
You talk about while you were in prison, let's say an accountant ended up there, that you would sit down with them and like pick their brain. And earlier today, and us talking, you mentioned about be the best version of you. And it sounds like you had that mindset that you were just going to absorb all the information that you possibly could. Like you didn't understand, you didn't know the life, what the accountant had access to, the people, and so I got the impression, which try and absorb whatever you could so that you could get a taste maybe of a life different than yours, or the people, or what just normal life was like. I invite you to take the Mommy and Daddy Issues quiz so that you can see the show that's been behind the scenes of your life, rooted from your childhood. It takes 5 minutes. The link is in comments.
Mm. I think now, I know, social media gives us access I looked at your page, right? And I've had a look through it, and I've learned so many things so quickly. And we live in this age now where you can grab that information and it becomes wisdom when you apply it. Knowledge isn't power without application. I always say that to everybody because we've got tons and tons of knowledge, probably not too much, but you just got to go, all right, MJ is good in this space. Let's learn these 5 things. I'm going to plug them into myself, and now leveled up 5 levels higher. And if that was, let's say, an apartment block in Miami or wherever it may be, New York, I'm 5 levels higher, and that value of that property is more so than the ground property, right? So when we do that to ourselves in life, now we've added more value to our life. Now, MJ says that, some other girl says this, some other girl says that, how to treat women, how to speak to women, how to please women, how to be intimate in the bedroom. And now when you're in that space, you're like, oh man, this bloke just sends me wild, right? That you want to send yourself wild in this thing called life, because otherwise you're going to wake up tomorrow morning and go, oh, what should I do? I don't know, it's like, you got no purpose, you got no drive, you got no building yourself to actually get up and say, I want to, I feel confident, I feel strong, and bang, I'm going to hit whether it's the gym, the bedroom, and I'm going to make sure that I show up at its highest level in each of these spaces. And when you do that, the only way you're going to feel is happiness, confidence, sexy, vibrant. The energy is going to ooze out of you. And once you do that on a regular basis, people want to be around that. And most importantly, if they want to be around it, you want to be around yourself even more so. And that could, there's nothing sexier than a sexy you.
That's right. Let's talk about the listeners, the people. Are they better off being taken out of the environment or given a second chance? The judgment, family, people that know whatever your history has been. Does somebody, in your opinion, have a better chance removing themselves from the environment that they knew that people they could sense still their judgment, or that what my past, what I did? Are they better off changing in that environment with their mindset, or are they better off being in a completely new environment where there are new people around them that don't know? Where do we have a better chance of
very hard that if
growing?
you're changing the environment, big ups to you, because it's very hard. Because you got to crab in the bucket story. Everyone's trying to pull you back into that bucket as you're trying to escape. And I think that's an important, if you've done that, unbelievable, because I had to move out. So I was in the block. In 1991, I was 18 at the time. I was very well known. I was making a lot of money. People, girls were throwing themselves at me in the nicest way because of the money I was making, the name I had, the life I was living, the cars I was driving.
Were you bald?
I had hair. Believe it or not, I had hair.
Okay.
And it was actually, if I let it go enough, it was curly, believe it or not.
Okay.
And long story short, I just realised I had to get out of the area, because I was just a byproduct of being around who I was around. So they always say you're the proximity, the person of who you're around, proximity-wise, or the 5 people you're around. You always hear that on social media. But in life, if I was to be around, or we were to be around Tony Robbins, Ed Myler, Gary Vee, as an example, I'm going to become a millionaire, guaranteed, right? I'm one of their kids, just guaranteed. I'm seeing it. I end up being it. I might have rebel in myself because of how much time they gave me, so they might be striving themselves but forget about me. And this is where we say to people, make sure there's a balance there. Family's everything. We always hear that, but then they just go so hard in business they forget about their family. Make sure it's like your partner. Imagine me, I'm your partner, I'm always in business and I forget about you, and I come home and you're like, oh, hi honey, and I'm like, I'm going to bed. That's going to fizzle out. And more than likely, the other person's maybe going to seek attention elsewhere, find attention elsewhere, or if they get the attention elsewhere. I've seen great people who are built really well, morally, cross that moral boundary because they were in a marriage of 10 years where nothing's happening. And then they get some attentions elsewhere, and they go, you know what, I want to feel good. And I understand that. So if you are in that relationship, and that is yourself, you've got to learn to say, you know what, I am a loyal person. The marriage is great, but I'm not feeling the way I should or want to be feeling in the last 10 years. Don't wait 10 years. If that happens within, have the conversation within a month. And if there's no changes within the next month, start to make a decision to start to pull away. Because if you're important enough, just like their business or their life, then you should be just as important in that space as well if they've brought you into it. Make sure that you're getting that intimacy, that love, that care, or that nurturing, or whatever it is that you want. Otherwise, remove yourself from that space. You're worth more than that.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And with that, I want to insert that partners, couples need to make sure that they do validate, encourage, say nice things, tell their lover that they're beautiful, or strong, or whatever the case may be.
How does that make you feel when someone does that to you?
When what?
Like if someone's saying, "Hey, you're looking beautiful. I love that dress on you."
Honestly, I don't. It doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah,
It's
well,
more of a compliment to me when a woman compliments
say
me.
it.
That I'm like, that's okay. I just got complimented.
Yes,
I think today those words are thrown around way too much, and this guy's just telling to about 50 other women the same thing. It's just how you feel about yourself. If you feel beautiful, if you feel sexy, if you feel whatever, then you don't need that from anybody else. So for me
no,
in particular, it doesn't.
100%.
If you complimented my podcast, however, or something that I have, that I work on, that to me, I would be like, okay, that's a compliment.
Love
But
that.
um,
I seen a video this morning, and it said the bloke's interviewing a female, and he says, what is it about, you got this bloke, and he's getting you to this moment, and excuse the term, but he's about to nut, right? He's saying this to this female. What is it? You're and what is it at that moment but what
oh,
she
that I
said.
posted, yeah, I know what
Yeah,
you're talking about.
yeah. And was
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah,
yourself?
yeah.
And then it was all off yours. And I, turned around and says, what he could be saying to me. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is how successful he is or she is. And I think, same. I love your podcast. I love what you're bringing out to the world. I love what you're doing. I love the drive and energy you bring into that sort of stuff, sexy. And to me, same principle, people that recognize your hard work, because the amount of time and effort and energy that you put into your podcast is an example of what you're trying to achieve with your social media, or business in general.
Mm-hmm.
That's sexy, man. And if a girl's got a man who's successful and he's strong in all elements of life, making better choices at the time when they're not in the room, so they protect their name, as an example. They're
Mm-hmm.
sexy things that a woman's going to be attracted to. There you go.
Yeah.
See, and I think
Yeah, a
that's
man's discipline is what I find attractive in a man, when
absolutely.
he can stay in control. More discipline. That's just me. But what I posted, he was asking, what position does
That's
your
the one.
man get you in that makes you, gets you to that moment where you're getting ready to explode? And he was meaning orgasm. And her response was, when he puts me in a position to succeed. She's like, that's my
Boom.
answer.
Love that. That's exactly
Right?
what was said.
Yeah, that's
Correct.
why I posted it. I was like, yes,
That's a
yes, yes,
power.
yes.
That's a powerful post, and I think, like, if men understand that with women, where you lift your woman up or you lift a potential
And women lifting men,
partner,
for sure.
that'll turn them on more than anything. And I think that's where I won quite a lot over the years. I understood women in that sense, rather than saying, "Oh, and I mean this nicely, nice ass," or something.
Hmm.
It's not going to guys for
Hmm.
some weird mentality think that the woman's going to go, "Oh my god, take me! You told me my
Right.
ass is
Yeah, yeah,
nice."
yeah.
And if they've had too many drinks, maybe, but like in the end, realistically, if you're talking about, "Hey, I love how you hold yourself," or something totally
Yes.
different,
Yes, yes,
you
yes.
know, and then walk away from that female and I say, that good dude was pretty cool. And, then you're
Right.
not even, I'm not looking at talking to you and this is your breast and I'm like, "Oh, how are you?" Like, I'm actually looking in your eyes. I'm giving you the time. It's just a different beast, and you hold yourself well. Last year, I got told 13 times by males and females, just at shops, they're like, "Can I tell you something?" And I was like, "Yeah, go for gold." They're like, "You're a very balanced human." I had that
Mm.
13 times last year. I counted. I was like, this
Mm.
is becoming weird. What's? And then I started going, what am I wearing? And how am I presenting myself? And I think it's your posture, your skin, your
Uh-huh.
tone of voice, the clothes that I'm wearing, and people just go, man, that dude's a dude, or I don't know, they're meant, and it comes out naturally. If you can do that and ooze that for yourself, that comes down to what you spoke about, the discipline of what you do in all health, wealth, happiness, inner
Mm-hmm.
peace, conversation, effective communication, and that's what we do as with our leadership business. We're able to tap into every element of an individual, and that's where I become strong within the team. There is an I in team, because if without that, it's like a flat tire on a car. That person's going to bring you in and drag you down and say, "Oh, you're not supporting me, honey." And now the
Mm-hmm.
heaviness goes on to the next person. And if that's in a business, it drags the business down. So be that person for yourself, like you said. Just be your person for you, and the right person will come into your space at the right time.
I have a special place in my heart for men. Men, I feel, carry the weight of the world. They're expected to have everything figured out. I couldn't even imagine what it would feel like to be a man for a day. The pressure, the thought, the fear, I mean, sometimes everything's going your way, but it takes me to you talking about a child being thrown up against a wall from a police officer and coming from an environment where they aren't taught how to cope with their feelings or thoughts, or how to manage
Mm.
what people do. And so a kid growing up, and even a young man in the best environments, being able to grow up into the world, there's still just a lot of pressure on men. I think that women should be a soft place, not all,
Mm.
but women should be a soft place for their man when he
Mm.
comes home to land. And I think that creates a safe space for him. And I don't think men get that a lot.
Mm.
And where else would they get it if they didn't get it from their woman, if they didn't get it from their mother, if they didn't get it from their environment, if they didn't get the nurturing, if they didn't get, how does a man learn emotional attachment? How
Mm.
intelligence,
For
where does that come? I know you teach it.
mm.
So what do you want to say about young men or men in the world and attachment? And because you're
uh,
not attached to the people or the emotions of the people that you're hurting when you're stealing their stuff. You're telling them to get on the ground in the bank because you're
mm.
robbing them. You're just doing it to the ends, to the means, to the ends of means. What is
Yeah.
that? What is that saying? You know what I'm saying? Um, you're doing it to get to the goal. Meanwhile, you're not even thinking about the trauma that's happening.
Mm.
So
It,
how does that
it's
change? Where does that correct? How's that learned?
it's going from unconscious to conscious, and most of
Mm.
society what be unconscious in every action. What happens is after a while you just become you're on what we call autonomy, right? And that just means tomorrow morning I wake up, I get ready for work, I go through the motions, whether you have breakfast, whether you go to gym, now you're at work, then you come home, if you got kids, pick up the kids, get the food ready, and that just becomes a repeat of your life for 70 years. And then we call that life. But if I said, "Hey MJ, what if you could do anything in this world? What would you do?" And you go, "Oh, I'd travel the world all the time, and I'd drive these cars, or I'd fish by the ocean with my dog, or whatever it is." Right? It's usually not what you're currently doing, and that brings awareness to someone who says, "Well, why do you feel you can't do that?" Like I've got to work, and I said, "So could you do something around e-commerce or something that brings you money?"
Mm.
In a sense where we get capped by what I call your ceiling of knowledge, and our ceiling of knowledge when we come out of schools, university, or whatever it may be, we say we've got to get a job so we pay our bills, and then you pay the debt off from your university, and and then we retire at 70. They're all programmed parts of life that we believe is the essentials of life, but technology and life has shown that you've got 12-year-old kids that are millionaires because of whatever they're great at. Maybe it's singing or social media or painting or something that they do. And we all go, amazing. And all of a sudden, this kid's on YouTube banging out, millions of dollars. And it's just about finding what you're great at and doing what you want to actually do rather than accepting that, oh, I've just got to get a job at some burger chain and that's my life. And oh, you know what, I can get into the corporate world now, and how good is this? Each to their own. If that's what you love doing, go and do it. But most people do what they don't like doing, and to do that, I was lucky enough to sit in a cell for 20 years and start to say, what is the meaning of life to me? What do I want from life? At the campfire life, at the end of my life, when I'm sitting around with MJ and a whole crew of us, and we're saying, tell us about your life. You're like, oh, I went to work every day and worked from 9 to 5 and looked after the kids. Great, noble, great parent, great role model. But did you ever want to travel? Yeah, I wanted to go to the pyramids, the Machu Picchu, or whatever it is. Why didn't you go? Oh, I didn't have enough money, time, this, that. We've all got the same time. We've all got the potential to make money. It's just what we tell ourselves that we become. So to do that, we've got to say, is this the only way I can make money? So as a bank robber, is this the only way I know how to make money? Yes, it is. But is there other ways to make it? Yeah, other people buying Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and whatever else. Why are you driving these cars or stealing these cars? It's because you're not able to access that, and now you've actually got that opportunity. Would you like one of these? And if so, what do you want to do, and how could you do it, and how do you learn business? So these opportunities in jails, the accountants from these big firms or big bank. He was from a big bank in Australia, a very well-known bank, and it was a very, very public case. But I didn't have what he had. He'd grown up university, good family, private schools, all this. So I'm listening to his tone of voice, how he conversated, and he identified me as somebody that was well known in the system. I'd look after him. Hey, he's with me. Don't do anything. I'll do something. And in exchange, he'd go, oh, I'm a great cook. So he cooked every night. And while we cooked, we'd sit around as a group, a couple of us, and he'd talk. And just hearing him talk and taxes and trusts and this and things I had no idea about. And when you go back and you look at even female-wise, as a male, what we tend to do is hang around males. But if you can find a female that can nurture you, even that's beyond your mother or grandmother, as an example, firstly, you learn off those two people, listen and learn as much as you can, so you earn as much as you can from your mother or grandmother. If they're not in your space, maybe it's a school friend who is actually different. And try and get somebody who's the polar opposite of yourself. So if you're loud, boisterous because you want to be heard because you weren't heard from your parents, find somebody who's calm, soft, and maybe sit around them more often and learn to have peace, have patience, have respect, and then sit with that person and see how they operate and start to plug that into yourself so that you're starting to balance yourself out on this thing we call life. And now in the space in the middle is that leverage of you exchanging how you can be more confident to this girl that might not be, and she balances herself out, you balance yourself out, and the exchange is of value to both of you. And that's a beautiful way of life. You've got to open these. To gain control, you've got to let go of control. And most people, because you've been burnt by your parents, whoever, someone in this world, and usually family and friends are the people that burn you most. So what happens? Family and friends burnt me. I'm not trusting the world, and your hands are crossed over. You go out to a nightclub and you see the girl. They're like literally standing like this. Don't talk to me. And it's because guys come up, hey, oh, you look great tonight, and they expect the girl to go, oh my God, take me. It's more like, how can you actually say, have conversations and understand people? And when you do that, that means you understand yourself, and that's the greatest way you can start to shift and change out of being no one. I always say people don't know their own identity, and they go, I know who I am, I'm MJ. And I'm like, yeah, you can tell me what your name is, but do you know what relationship you want to be in? Do you want 6 kids? No kids? Do you want to travel? Do you not want to travel? I don't want kids because I want to travel. All right, cool. Where do you want to live? I don't know. Well, how are you ever going to define your life by just saying, oh, I'll just accept it. Let's just get a place here and rent? and you come home hating opening your own home. You want to open your door and go, this place, I open my house and it's magical. It's a wellness apartment. I've got 400 square meter gym, 2 pools. Like, it's a different beast. I'm coming home to what I love being around, and people just don't understand. You've got to be very intentional and directional, otherwise you're going to accept life, and what happens then is you're going to accept that people just walk in and smash up your world. And as long as you're not conscious of that, you'll be unconscious of what you accept. And we get good at managing chaos, MJ, and that means, like, you look at the world and there's so much chaos in it, and we go, oh, it's totally normal for people to be killing people, talking about killing people, or even doing bad things to children. Don't worry about it. Then we get caught up in whose side you're on. Oh, this side's right. No, this side's right. When there's a kid being killed in the middle, they don't even talk about what's right. It's crazy. Oh, you're with them? How dare you? Even the American elections, we've got people in Australia worried about whose side you're on. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you've got to just, it's not even our country and you're worried about another country. Worry about yourself more than you do everybody else, and watch what happens. And that means you plug into the idea of yourself and make it an intention, and anything that's a distraction, which is your ID, you let go of. It's not my business. It's not on my roadmap to life, and I promise you, you'll live a totally different life.
So it sounds like the beginning would look something like asking yourself the question, what would bring you happiness? What is version of life? So that people can connect. If they're living life, things that they're not enjoying, then they're not experiencing emotions of joy and being content or achieving things. So they're numb, they're cut off, closed off. And if they start asking themselves the questions, how would they like to make their money? What is it that they would always, if they begin to open up to the possibilities of it, then they start taking the steps. Now they're going to start caring and becoming emotionally attached.
Love that. I do a Power 100 every morning before 9 a.m. And I say this, if you get up at 5, then you got 4 hours. But if you got up at 9, do it by 1 o'clock as an example. Power 100. And you can do a Power 100 in questions. So do a Power 100. What do I want from life? What locations would I travel to if I could? So I want to go to the pyramids, whatever it is that you do, right? And write them all out, because that's what you really want to do. So if you've got 100 countries on there, well, then you'll start to operate from a different level. What does my love life look like? Do I want to sleep around and just be single, or do I want to be married with kids? Do I want to go to strip clubs? I don't know what it is for that person. Ask yourself those 100 questions. And you said, numb. When you've defined that 100, on the other side of the 100, I want you to do the polar opposites of what you don't want then. So if you did the other side first too, you could go, I don't want to feel numb. All right, so that means I want to feel alive. And now when you ask those two questions, what's numb look like? Who am I around? What am I doing? And I'm around people that, and I mean it nicely, that are no hopers and they don't want nothing from life. And to be meaningful, let's say on the other side, what's that? Who am I around? What am I doing? And it could be anything. Meaningful, like I said before, if you want to strip in a club and dance every night and that's your meaningful because you love doing it, do it. It's your life. Like people worry about, you're never ever going to please everybody. So just do 100 questions on one side. And I guarantee you talked about being content, being happy, being loved, or whatever it is. What's that look like? And do I have a partner? Do I have a pet that loves me? I don't know, right? But if you don't define it, and I call this your GPS to life, you get in a car. I come from Arizona, or New York to Arizona. I've got no idea about the distance, but in general, I'm going to turn on my GPS. I'm coming to MJ's house. Hey, I'm coming in from New York. Yep, sweet, come in. I type in my GPS, right, and it tells me left here, right here. That's your GPS to life. I'm coming to you. The same thing, these 100 answers are going to come to yourself, the strongest version of yourself. This is the weak version. This is the strong version. Ask those 100 questions, define that, and live that every single day, and watch what happens. The confidence, the discipline, the accountability, responsibility, ownership. It doesn't matter where you are. I've had people who have been on ICE, MJ, in my program, and some of them got 7-figure businesses. They were hustlers. They were making $500 a day for their drugs. We still use the same skill, but we just turned it into a constructive way, and now they're paying their bills. Loving life and traveling the world and doing what they want because they defined it. Most people will ask them, what type of relationship do you want? I don't know, never thought about it. Well, do you want kids? You don't want kids? Oh, I'm not sure. Like, you ask the person in their brain, they haven't thought about it, you'll see them sit there, and I'll do this in conferences, big conferences, and you get like 10 people crying in the audience. And I'm like, do you want to talk about that? And they like, I've just never thought about it, and you've made me realise. And we just don't. We don't think about the beautiful life that we want. It's like a partner. Life's a partner to you, but we don't define it. We don't go, I'm looking for someone who's disciplined. I'm looking for somebody who holds himself well, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And when we look for that person, that should be a reflection of you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Whereas people go, I want, the guy with the car and the money and this and then that. And all behind that, if that is, does he have discipline? He's funny, he's humorous, he's strong, and if you're not that, this is what's going to happen.
Getting it.
We're going to go like this, right? We might be attracted on a body level or sexual level, but the rest of it, they party, you don't party. They are disciplined, you're not disciplined. I guarantee that's going to, the misalignment is going to cause friction, and that friction, just because it's good in the bedroom, ain't going to be good in life. And I can guarantee that friction is going to end up hurting you more than it helps you. So define everything and watch what happens in your life. You'll be around the people you're meant to be around, the environments you're meant to be in, and the life that you truly want.
Because you now know what you're being disciplined for. You find power and the strength of making better choices because you're clear at what it is that you want.
When you're there, that GPS to life, is it an intention of my life? Yes, it is. Keep going. If it's a distraction, the guy over there is pretty, but I said I wanted this guy over here, so now I have the discipline to say, no, you look beautiful, but it's not my business. And I mean that respectfully. And that girl, it happens all the time when you do that for your current partner. Girls will say, oh my God, this guy is, hey, I've got messages. If you ever broke up and you were single, hit me up. And I'm like, crazy, right?
Women love a man that is faithful. They will try and take him from the relationship for themselves.
And the more you're stronger for it,
right?
The more they try and knock the door down.
I think that men that wear wedding rings get hit on more than probably single, because a woman's like, he can commit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you know what? Even talking about marriage. You even suggest sometimes it means you got to leave that marriage. It means you got to step away from that business that you've had for 10 years in order to step into. So we're not talking about just kids that grew up, on the wrong side of the tracks and stepping into their life that they want to build. You're saying anybody. It could be a doctor that's just not happy at life and did what parents wanted him to do, and he's not happy. He's not being authentic. So it goes all people.
Everyone
have to sacrifice what it is that you have. Yes, you're right. Unconscious for sure.
You can work and have millions of dollars, right? Steve Jobs as the example, but not live the life or spend time with the family. Family is important. Some people don't have family, and traveling is more important to them, but they don't do travel. And like, when was I did a leadership group, MJ, the other day, blew my mind. 30 in the leadership group, and out of the 30, none of them had travelled overseas in 5 years. We went through the questions, and they was making bank, right? And I'm like, all right, so what's making bank for? Do you travel with your families? No. And everyone sat there silent. I was like, so, all right, so no one's travelled recently? And they're like, no. I said, so the last person to travel overseas was 5 years ago. So they're making all this money. I'm like, what? So what are you making it for? And they're like, to set up my family. They're working so hard over here, they actually forgot about their family. And some of them had lost their wives. So after the workshop, they're saying, hey, my marriage is on the rocks. Yeah, you're making money. Yeah, you got a great title and a great business
Mm-hmm.
making lots of
You're not
profit.
living life.
But the profits are pointless because your marriage broke down, your kids are smoking. I don't understand why my kids are smoking drugs or snorting cocaine. Well, guess why? Because you gave them no time, love, or attention. And I can guarantee your wife, same thing, if she's not getting the attention. Even as I said before, I've seen people that I just blew me away that they actually end up sleeping with another guy. But you just break it down and you think 10 years where they're just lonely in a bedroom by themselves, and then some guy gives them the attention, and someone just cracks. It's just you can only poke a bear so much before the bear turns and bites you. And then it's crazy. People say, oh, the bear bit me. Well, you're in the cage with him, poking him. Of course the bear's going to bite you. Yeah, so, and that doesn't excuse it. I understand it. It's one of those things. And people, it's like the cookie. If you leave it there long enough and you leave the person in that room long enough and they start to become hungry 3 days later, and you tell them not to eat the cookie, but I'll give you money, the will to, some people will push past that, a very small few, but most people are going to crack and eat the cookie.
Self-love and self-acceptance, I think, where you're kind of like taking us to pretty consistently with your answers is getting to know yourself. And you're right. A lot of people do not know themselves and they're doing things on autopilot, whatever the case may be, whatever their circumstances are. But did you know back then, looking back now, did you know that you were a leader? Did you know yourself as that when you were young, or did you kind of like discover it when you got out of prison? Or was it while you were in prison? When did you start identifying, knowing yourself enough to know that you're like, I'm actually a leader. I'm not a bad kid.
Probably when I was 12, I just had to lead by example for myself, and you don't realize it at that time that you're the leader. But and then I got into graffiti. Graffiti was it was huge back then, especially in America. We got a lot of influence from America, so we were like meeting on the streets. You're homeless, and your identity or your ID became your tag name. So I think in amongst that, people started gravitated towards me because I started to make money. We started this thing called searching, where we'd distract the shopkeeper. Shopkeeper would be talking to us, go out the back, open the safe, take the money, lock the safe up, and the shopkeeper wouldn't even know anything extra, And to me, that was just a crazy way of life. But I think at that stage, I started to realise, and we started a graffiti crew that was very famous and well known at that time, Partners in Crime, PIC, and that showed me everyone wanted to be a part of PIC, and I was like, I must have something in me. But you're not conscious of it, you don't really think about it, and then going out on crews and stuff of that age, a total difference. And it just made, for me, that's a different way of life.
You are coming out with a book, right? You're
Correct.
writing one?
Correct.
What's that going to be about?
It'll be the memoirs of my life, but the first one being more a crossover between the lessons that became blessings and how you can personally develop. And it'll be in and around the subtle art of not giving a fuck, and that just means that you'll be able to understand it's along those lines of personal development, self-development, but hey, if I can, you can, and how to identify things that we're unconscious of, as you spoke about before. It's very complex and deep, and there's different pillars of life. Let's say relationships, finances. What do you work for? And people go, oh, make money. And I say, all right, so what's the money for? And they go, first thing they'll answer, pay my bills. And I'm like, so that's what you've got as your first thing. And they're like, I never thought about it like that. And I said, so if you could do anything, what would you do? And they go, I'd travel more, whatever it is, right? And I'd say, so answer like that first and watch how you operate. You operate differently because your first thought is about how can I make more money to then get into that spot. And when you make more money, and that doesn't mean working longer hours, you should start thinking about how you can minimize your hours, put it on automation, and have money be made while you're sleeping. And people say, oh, that's not possible. Well, that's what you told yourself. And if you believe that ceiling of knowledge, that's where you operate from. Once you do that, and it's not hard to learn, people just don't want to work hard. Do it as easy, life will be hard, and most people do that. I'm going to put on Netflix, eat the donut. I want the donut, I want the cake too, but what you've spoken about, the discipline of being able to do that over and over, and most people just won't do that. And each to their own. I'm not here to judge you, but I can tell you there's a better way of life by being disciplined for your life, and that to me is just a powerful way to live in your true self. Do I have to pay bills? Yeah, they're a part of the process, but you know what? My first thing is to travel the world and live life and never be in an office. And our staff who are more employed on a consultancy role within the business, they're always like, Orbs, can you build an office? And because they know that I wouldn't build a standard office. You'd have a basketball court, I'd have a recovery centre in their gym. Mate, if I had the office, I'd say, if you want an extra hour of pay, you need to do gym. You want another extra hour of pay, you need to do an hour of recovery. Go in the infrared sauna, go in the egg pod, go and meditate, and I'll pay you for it. And that means, you reckon that they wouldn't love me and go and get on the grind when they're out of that? Mornings come in, you've got to train. If you don't log into the gym, you don't do your workout, you don't get that hours of pay. It's up to you, and that will be, I can employ you for 6 hours, 8 hours, 2 of that is training and recovery. So you only work in 6 hours, and we'll put two solid breaks in there, 1 solid hour break out at lunch, go for a walk, get out and about. If you do 10,000 steps on your hour, I'll give you I'll pay you again while you're on your lunch break. And those sorts of things, I'll pay you double on your lunch break. Why? Because now I'm investing back into the individual, and watch what happens. I guarantee you, the person will love you more.
On your social media, because I was looking at your stuff yesterday, kind of going a little deep, and you actually take your followers to the place of your last robbery, and you walk them through that, even to your window of where you jumped out at 12 years old and took off into the streets. Your social media is very interesting. You do a lot with physical mastery. It seems like you're always challenging yourself physically and obviously mentally. If people wanted to find you, how would they be able to reach you?
JeffreyMorgan.com, JEFFREY. And I love that you noticed that. And that's what the projection is, just being yourself and sharing those stories. The power is in the pain. Your future is in your past, which means if you go back and perceive it differently, because, it happened to me, you don't know what happened, bro, and it's not that. If you can say, what happened to me, what was the lesson that became a blessing, and then I'll use, how did you learn from it, how did you grow from it, how did you prosper from it. And growing is, the education behind something. So I'll give you the greatest example. Most people, heart disease, diabetes, and cancers, right? They're the big three. And as an example, most people, if I said, tell me 10 things how you prevent cancer, people would go, maybe not sunlight and not eat bad foods, I think, and they wouldn't be able to tell you 10 things. I'm pretty sure most wouldn't be able to tell me 10 things, because I've done this test in workshops, and I'm like, well, would you like to get cancer? No way. And I said, well, would it be of value to learn 10 things around cancer? So if you do what's called a layered approach, learn 10 things around cancer or around business or around relationships or around sex, intimacy, whatever it is, right? The body language, guess what you're going to do? You're going to be an expert in your field very quickly. And if you say, today I put time aside to learn about, I do what's called a 12 by 12 12 by 12, 12 months, you're going to pick one thing for each month. Month one might be business, next one might be emotional intelligence, third one relationships, and then you pick 12 things to learn through that month. So if it was business, it'd be marketing, sales, effective communication, objections, whatever it is, right? At the end of that month, you're sort of pretty much an expert. If I'm watching Tony Robbins, Ed Mylett, Gary Vee, or whoever it is, right, that you want to watch, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, you're taking these principles of how they got successful and plugging them in. I'm watching you around different elements of how you be the sexiest version of yourself. And then the next person, and all of a sudden, and I mean this nicely, even porn stars, how they are in a thing, right? And you can replicate that in the bedroom. Guess what you're going to be? You're going to be of value to yourself, but then you're in a space of business, the bedroom, or whatever it is within your life. Guess what? Like, people are going to say, man, that's sexy. That is some serious sex appeal. And then you're driving your nice car, you've got the discipline, your body's a reflection. I'm 51, man, and I'm going to play 9 games of football over this. Literally after this podcast, we're driving up to play 9 games of football at 51. And if I can hold myself this well, then you can do it. And the best thing, understand, you're never going to be younger than you are today. You're never going to be in a place or space that be better than you are today. All you got to do is be a champion of being a beginner and take that step and step across that line. And by all means, if you feel stuck, reach out, jeffreymorgan.com.au, and we'll have that conversation. We'll get you geared up and have that roadmap for 2025 laid out. And watch what happens. These elements that we build in, these 12 by 12s, just as they're a micro inch of the program, I guarantee you'll leave a better person, a stronger person, a person of value for yourself, and that reflection will attract probably the person that you want on the other side of yourself.
Well, you're not going to settle for less. When you apply all of that, and you grow and you learn to master yourself like that, and you practice discipline, you're not going to just allow anybody into your life. You have way too much.
This will be you. This circle will be this aura of, it's an invisible aura, and someone will try and come into that space and tell you what you need to hear. They might even send you pictures naked with their address and say, I'm waiting for you. But if you're built of discipline, of strength, or you're able to just go, I don't even need to respond to that. So if someone says you're a bold, you're criminal, ex-criminal, bank robber, you scum, I don't even need to respond to that. It's what someone says about me isn't my business. How I respond is the awareness of myself. So everyone's entitled to their opinion. Doesn't worry me. Most people worry about other people or other environments, like Australia worries about America's election. I don't mean it badly to American people, but like I say to the person, so what's your goals for 2025? And they go, I don't know. And I said, how much time? So, do you know that Trump this, Camilla that? And they'll tell you layers deep on that, but they won't tell you their goal. One goal for 2025. Right. This is where misalignment. You wouldn't date a person that you're not attracted to, so why be unattracted to yourself and sit in this misalignment with yourself where everything else is stressful, hateful, hating on life, hating on people. It's because it's a reflection of you. It's not the people. It's you. As you said, you're going to meet the people on the level that you come into that conversation and the environment. And if you meet a level 1 guy as a female, they're going to tell you what you need to hear, but they're going to be they'll run to another girl, they'll maybe talk in a different tone of voice to you, they have expectation and entitlement, and you'll feel like a slave to them rather than actually being valued to them. And once you build yourself strong, I guarantee you will attract strong. Like equals like, period.
Absolutely. I love that. I love all that. We ask every guest the same 3 questions. And so tell us what your answers are. Where is the love, or what is the love in your life, or your story, or your work?
The love, I'd say it's in yourself. We get used to loving yourself more than you love everybody else. I'm going to look after my family. Even the greatest one is parents go, I'm going to look after my family. So they give their kids fast food. Their kids blow out. Now they're getting teased at school. Now their mental health takes a hit. And then sometimes they're not here on the planet anymore because they make a choice at a particular age, or they use drugs and they become lost within this world, locked up. And it comes back to, if you want your child, as an example, to be a reflection of good health, then you should be eating well as well before you say, oh, eat well, I'm just going to grab a big burger over here with the chips and all the loaded sauce. You've got to be a reflection of what you put out to the world. And when you love yourself more than you love the world, then the reflection will go, you don't have to say anything. People say, this bloke's, I'm attracted to this bloke, I'm attracted to this female. And I agree with you. It's attractive to see a female that's striving to crush her goals. And as I said, it could be anything. Whether they want to be a model, they want to be in the corporate world, they want to be a race car, I don't know. But if they're striving for it and their body's a reflection of it and their choices are, and their discipline is, that sexy to me as well. So I think people have that wrong version. They look to the world and, I need to please everybody else. Parents forget about themselves. They get the kid because, I love the kid. Then they forget to go and train because I don't have time. And now you're putting on weight. You lack confidence. What do you reckon your kid's going to do? They're going to lack confidence too, because you're the reflection of what you teach them. You role model what you put out. So if you want your child to be better, or you want the relationship to be better, you be better. And once you're better, and I don't have to say, MJ, you need to go and train, otherwise we're not going to be in this relationship. If I train and we were partners, you're like, hey babe, can I come and train with you? What do you reckon I'm going to say? No, babe, I'm training by myself. More than likely, most guys are going to go, that's sexy, my partner wants to come, let's go. And here we're doing squats, your turn. And I think there's nothing better than being able to do that with someone who wants to do that. Be that person for yourself.
Totally agree with you on that.
Love that.
Yeah, totally. Where is the lie? What is the lie?
The lie is the unconscious world that we live in and the chaos that we manage. And that means that we just live this lie. Most of the world lives a lie. How are you, MJ? Oh, I'm great. Bank account's empty, emotional tank's empty, and we just say, oh, you're beautiful, MJ. Oh, that's my guy. And like I'm not ringing you, I'm not texting you, I'm not complimenting you, I'm not supporting you yet. How's a relationship, MJ, to your girlfriends? Oh, he's a great guy. You just lie. And I'm going to work. You like it? Yeah, I love it. And then in peak hour traffic, you're beeping your horn and hurry up, you stupid idiots. I've got to get to work. Time management is out of whack. We just live the biggest lie. And social media is this. I've met so many influencers the last 5 years, I'd say. And I swear I've probably met, I'm trying to literally dig deep to think about how many authentically are the person that they put out to the world. And people say to me, and I fucking love it, fuck, you're exactly that person that I've seen on social media. And I'm like, that's just who I am. I'm not going to post, watch how good I am, watch how strong I am, but then, there's no strength behind myself. Where me and a guy are talking at an airport and some girl looks at me and I'm like, I'm just going to jump ship now because she looked at me. I'm that person. Everything you see I am. Be that. Stop being a lie and understand what are your lies that you tell yourself. Most people accept it so much that they live in this word dissonance. So even when you point the lie out, they'll fight you so much because they just want to be right rather than do what's right.
Right.
Well, do what's right, not for me, it's for them. That's the craziest thing. Life's good. Bullshit it is. You're full of shit. And once you can see that lie within yourself, you can let go of, and then going back to that thing, to gain control, you need to let go of control. I don't know how to make money, I'm broke. Who's going to tell you that? Not many people. I do that. I've told people about when I was broke, when I was homeless, when I was a cheater, when I was undisciplined, when I was deceiving, and that's how I won. I just let go of all that. I took it out of my invisible backpack and said, yeah, you can have it. I don't want it. Anyone want it? Take it. And that to me is just a better way of life and a less heavier life. I can guarantee that.
That is mask off. That is what that
The
is.
bank robber's masked off and gone.
That's right.
Now I don't have to hide
That's
anymore.
right. Ooh, I'm gonna have fun creating reels for this. I'm gonna go get a bank robber mask and
Love
have
that.
fun
Let's
with
go.
promoting
Just don't get
this.
arrested doing it.
A sexy bank robber mask, of course.
Oh,
Okay, and so what is the truth?
the truth. And the truth, define that for me just really quickly. The truth is that there's more to life than you think there is of the program of life. And what that means is a lot of people just accept life. Like if you ask someone the program of life, they'll pretty much tell you, go to, I don't know in the States what it is, but we have kindergarten, preschool here, and then you go into primary school, then you go into high school, then you go into university. When you're in primary school, you get your first boyfriend, girlfriend. In uni, you start, like, you go through these phases, right? Then you get a house, then you get the car, and then you retire at 70, and that's the program of life. The truth is that there's more to life, but we don't pursue that life. We just don't even, we get too busy and don't have time to go and look elsewhere, that there's other stuff out there. And as long as you think one way rather than multi-dimensional, 10 different ways, you'll always believe your truth, and your truth will create a ceiling of your knowledge. And if that ceiling of your knowledge was, let's say, $1,000 a week you're making, as an example, and I say, come on a holiday to Dubai with me, and you say, I only got $250 that I put away each week, and I say the trip to Dubai is 20 grand, and you're like, I don't have that money. As soon as you say that, that means that you believe that you'll never ever travel to Dubai, because you just don't have that money. Maybe in 5 years I'll save up and go there, but could you do something different? And that is the truth. The truth is that either you're too lazy, or and the truth is that we're usually ashamed of what we haven't done. That's why we don't show up to a scene and an environment, because we're not smart enough in our head, we're not good enough, we're not pretty enough, we're not. Just show up as you and give it everything you possibly got, and try and learn one new thing every single day. You learn 365 things per year. You do that 12 by 12 and learn more than that every single month, and watch what happens in a year's time. You see life differently. Money, you don't have to be in a workplace to earn a salary. Most people are capped by a salary. Get in the habit of learning how to make money while you sleep, and if you can do that, and you put some time into that, rather than, and I mean this nicely, the Kim Kardashian or whoever, the Kardashians' lives, people sitting there, oh, I'm going to watch Kim Kardashian, she's making bank because you're watching her. Make bank for yourself and learn about how you can become that. And there's a million girls that look just as good as Kim does, but she just learnt the art of business. And people can talk about the sex tape all they want. She's like, you talk about it all you want, keep putting money in my bank as well. And that is the truth. If you accept your truth, that life is only capped by what I know, then that's your truth. If you say to yourself, I'm full of shit and I got more in myself and I need to show up and have a crack at life, the only thing you're going to get out of life is the magic of life that you design, not accept. And that's a fucking powerful way to live. And if I can do it, you can do it.
If you like today's episode and got anything out of it, please be sure to comment, like, subscribe. We grow because of you. Thank you so much for listening.
Too.
Coming from you, absolutely, your life exemplifies what you just said. Coming from, I mean, you were just in prison how many years ago? 15 years ago?
15.
And you have 2 pools and a basketball court and
then come, if anyone's in
a lot of cars.
I'm that person. If you're in Oz, come past home. Like, we'd love, come past. I'd love to catch up. And people, if I can build this, and if I can build a global business, if I can, just live a different way of life. I just challenged what was the program of life and said, fuck, I got more. And then say, what is more? What do you mean you got more? All right, define it. Well, I'd love to drive a luxury car. All right, cool. How are you going to get the money? I don't have a resume. I got a criminal record. I'm fucked. That's what I could tell myself. That's the truth. Or I can say the truth is you got fucking more in you. Go and learn a way of making it. There is ways out there, and I did that. And if I can do it, you can do it. And whether that's relationships as well. Oh, well, my father beat up my mother, so I'm that person too. No, you're not. That's what you're telling yourself you are now. The truth is you just don't want to change. And if you don't want to change, you're choosing that life. You get to choose your life. Make sure you choose happiness, man. And even then, right out, you asked those questions before. What is your happiness? Who is it with? What are you doing? Who are you around? How much money's in your account? What type of house do you live in? Car driving? Then inner peace. Where does it happen? Who are you around? All these, you can define these elements, and all of a sudden, guess what happens? You're living that life, and that is the truth. You get to choose your life, and the only one to blame for the life that you've got is you.
Love
Period.
it.
That's the
I
truth.
absolutely love it. Thank you, Jeffrey, for spending your morning with us. We totally appreciate you. Listeners, I appreciate you listening. I will leave the links for Jeffrey, for his program, and for his social media and the content. Enjoy the rest of your day, Jeffrey.
Yes, thanks for having me, and it's been a pleasure. And may your podcast bring magic to the world and help people believe that if you can, they can, or if I can, they can. And I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too.
Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye. Till next time, guys.
That's me, your lighthearted host and expressionist. And this is my podcast, Love and Lies.